Welcome to the Property Punch podcast, your go-to blend of bold property insights, straight talking strategy, and wealth building wisdom. We serve it short, sharp, and full of flavor, made for real people who want real results from real estate. Each week, we'll stir together smart tips, market moves, and practical advice to help you grow your portfolio, create passive income, and build wealth, one sip at a time. No fluff, no jargon, just a property brew you'll actually want to drink. So grab your glass. It's time for your weekly pour of Property Punch. Let's dive in. Alright, let's kick things off with something fun, Dad. Let's play a quick game of this or that, property style.
Yeah, bring it on.
Are you ready?
I think I am.
Well, I hope you are.
I think I am.
Okay, the first one for today is, would you rather house and land or an apartment?
Oh, that's a good one. Would I rather buy or have a house and land or an apartment?
Yes.
Okay. I think I will buy a house and land package if I'm buying something that's based in an area where it's family oriented, because that will appeal to families, say, with children. They love space and all that. However, for the apartment, I think I'll be buying something I'll be buying an apartment if I'm looking at probably the inner city of the major capital cities to attract the younger people, the professionals, because that will suit them best.
Well, it seems like you're a bit too quick, because that kind of went into our second one, which is capital city or regional town.
All right, that's a good one. So capital city or regional town, I think I will buy in the capital cities if I can afford it, because capital cities, that's where, the population gets to be greater because they'll be looking for jobs. But in saying that, nowadays, due to after COVID, most people are working from home. So you can actually also be, I guess, buying in regional areas as well and working from home. But at the end of the day, it boils down to the price, so what I can afford. So if affordability is an issue, then definitely I'll go regional. But if I can afford, then capital cities.
And do you have a personal preference of whether you like a capital city or regional area for you?
I prefer capital cities. Capital city, yeah.
And our last one is, would you rather a renovator's delight or a turnkey?
Oh, another good one. So, renovator's delight or a turnkey. I think I would go for a renovator's delight if it's my own house as an owner occupier, because I don't have any time limit to do things in a hurry. As you probably know, I've renovated, our current home, and it was a good experience, and we really enjoyed it to do that. So definitely a renovator's delight if it's an owner occupier to live in. However, if it's an investment, then I probably prefer, what's the other one?
A turnkey.
A turnkey. If it's an investment, then definitely a turnkey, because for a couple of reasons. One, lower maintenance. And secondly, I'm maximizing my depreciation for tax purposes.
I remember when we first got this place, it was really old and run down, and you guys spent a lot of time and effort into changing things and making it your own and renovating it.
Yeah, definitely. I remember that too. It was quite, dilapidated, needed a bit of work. But one thing that we were so sure about this is that we had bought in a good area, and good schools around, not very far from the city. It ticked kind of all the fundamentals that we were looking at. But behind that, there was a lot of work. We pretty much, changed almost everything to make sure that, it's now looking, according to our tests, We changed a lot of things. We painted, changed carpet, floorboards, new bathrooms, you name it. Even downstairs, we managed to extend another floor as well.
Whilst we're in a playful mood, did you know that the most expensive house ever sold in Australia sold for almost $130 million in Sydney? Wild stuff.
That's why we're talking about what 650,000 can buy you, because you don't need millions to build wealth.
So, before we even talk about everything else on our agenda today, do you think that $650,000 is enough to enter the property investment space right now?
That's a great question. So at the moment, we are seeing an environment of dropping interest rates. The Reserve Bank has already dropped interest rates twice. And what you tend to see when that happens is that there is now more competition amongst buyers, because people that couldn't afford to buy, because of their borrowing capacity, because of affordability, they can now buy, they can now enter the property market. But as you know, everything has now gone up. So 650,000, what can you really buy? Can you buy even something? Definitely you can. You can buy houses, nationwide. There are some hotspots that are actually on the rising market that we're going to explore, but definitely you can actually buy something in a good area with a lot of fundamentals behind it to make sure that that property has got potential capital growth in the long term.
Today we're pouring up something special, the $650,000 mix. A lot of Aussies ask us, what can I actually buy with $650,000 in today's property market?
It's good you asked. It depends on where you're looking at. Let's get straight into it. I have prepared a list of Australian suburbs that are under 600,000 price bracket for houses. These suburbs are not only affordable, they are also rising markets on the property clock according to my analysis.
That sounds really interesting. But before you start talking about everything else, what is the property clock?
So imagine the property market moving in cycles just like the hands of a clock. The market goes through highs and lows just like the seasons. And the property clock is designed to show where each particular market, like a city or suburb, sits within that cycle. This clock is divided into 4 main phases.
And what are those phases, Dad?
So the first up is the peak of the market, which is the 12 o'clock. This is when prices are at their highest. Properties are selling like hotcakes. There's a sense of urgency in the air. Open homes are packed, bidding wars are common, and sellers are getting the top dollar. But here's the thing. This is often the worst time to buy. Why? Because the growth has already happened. You're buying at the top, so at 12 o'clock, the market is overheated. It might look like a party is in full swing, but behind the scenes, the music is about to stop. Then the downturn, which is the 3 o'clock. This is when the market starts to slow down. Buyer demand drops, properties take longer to sell, prices start softening, and sentiment turns into caution. This is the cooling off period. Some sellers get stuck within overpriced properties, and investors who bought at the peak will start to feel nervous. Not the best time to sell, but for well-researched long-term investors, this can be a time to observe and prepare. And then comes the bottom of the market, which is the 6 o'clock. Now we're in the basement. Prices have hit their lowest point. There's hardly any competition. Properties sit on the market for ages. Confidence is low, and people are scared to act. But here's the twist. This is actually one of the best times to buy. Like Warren Buffett said, be greedy when others are fearful. That's exactly what the 6 o'clock phase is about. The media is negative, the market looks down, but this is where real investors plant seeds that grow later. And then there's the 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock is the recovery or the rising market. This is where the market starts showing signs of life again. Rents go up, vacancy rates drop, confidence starts returning. You see more sales happening and the prices start to climb again. This is a prime time to invest. You're ahead of the crowd, catching the growth before the mainstream headlines hit. By the time we circle back to 12 o'clock, your assets have grown in value and now you can sell or refinance to grow your portfolio.
But wait, is every market on the same clock?
Here's the fascinating part. Not all markets move at the same pace. While Sydney might be sitting at 12 o'clock, for example, another regional market like Ballarat or Toowoomba could be sitting at 9 o'clock or even 6 o'clock. That's where smart investors look across multiple markets rather than just their own backyard. Understanding where each location sits on the property clock can help you avoid buying at the top when prices are inflated. It also helps you to spot the hidden gems in the rising market, and you're able to diversify your portfolio across all different cities or states.
So how is the property clock measured?
That's a good question. It's not guesswork. Analysts use a combination of key indicators, such as price trends, where prices are rising, falling, or flat, rental yields and vacancy rates, how much income is being generated, are tenants easy to find in the markets, days on the market as well, are properties selling fast or lingering, auction clearance rates. Higher clearance usually means strong rental demand. Higher clearance usually means strong demand. And development activities, are new projects booming or slowing down? Interest rates and lending conditions as well. Easy money often pushes markets up. All of these clues help to position each city or suburb on the property clock.
Looking back to your rising markets list of properties $650,000 and under, how about we go back and explore that and look into some different areas?
Sure thing. So I've prepared my list here, and I've looked at all the states in the country, and we're looking at 650,000 or under. And I'll start with New South Wales first up. So in New South Wales, for houses, we've got Taree in the Mid-Coast, we've got Wauhub in Port Macquarie, Bathurst. And then next up, we'll look at Victoria. So in Victoria, we've got Mambourine, Manalex, and Werribee. These are all in the Wyndham Vale, LGA. Mulgrave in the Yarra Ranges, as well as Melton. In regional Victoria, we've got Alfredton, Sebastopol, and Black Hill, all in the Ballarat area, as well as California Gully and Canadian. Beveridge and Mitchell, East Bendigo and Kennington, and then Wodonga. We'll move up to Queensland. We've got Brendel in Moreton Bay area, 1 Mile in Ipswich. In the regional Queensland, we'll look at Bundaberg, Cairns North, Wooree, all in the Cairns region, and Frenchville and Kawana in the Rockhampton area. Next up, we'll move up to Toowoomba, where we've got Harlaxton. And then in Western Australia, we've got Leda in the Kwinana region, Mount Melville in the Albany region, as well as Port Denison in the Aylwin area. South Australia, we've got Elizabeth Grove and Moonapara in the Playford LGA. And then we also got Angaston in the Barossa and Gawler. Both those are regional South Australia. Northern Territory, quite a few in there. We've got Alawa, Anula, Ballamark, and Zuccotti. So all these are in the Northern Territory.
That sounds like a lot of bang for your buck. And for our listeners, it sounds like you can still buy smart in growing corridors for $650,000 and less.
So what does this mean for you? If you're planning your next move, whether buying your first investment or growing your portfolio, use the property clock to guide your timing. It's not about trying to time the market perfectly, but you're trying to understand what kind of market you're buying into. And remember, just like time, the cycle always moves, but if you're paying attention, you can move with it, not against it. So when it comes to financing $650,000, it all depends on what type of buyer you are. Let's look at two scenarios. The first scenario is you are a first home buyer. So you're a first home buyer. In most cases, at the moment, you only need 5% deposit. And due to government grants that are there at the moment, you will actually have no LMI if you've got 5%. LMI is Lender's Mortgage Insurance, which is an insurance that you pay to the bank if you're borrowing more than 80%. So 5% of 650,000 is probably just about around $34,000. So that's the only amount that you need to be able to afford a $650,000 property. If you're an investor, you need 10% deposit. So 10% of 650,000, that's 65,000, and you probably need around about $30,000 for stamp duty, depending on which state you're buying into. So all up, I'd say, around about $100,000 can get you into an investment property with 650,000. So whether you are going to draw that on your existing equity to buy your investment property, or you're going to be drawing that from your savings, or a combination of both, it will all depend on your personal circumstances.
That's it for today's pour of the Property Punch podcast. It seems like you can buy lots, and there's lots of options for you if you have a budget of $650,000 or under. Don't forget to follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And if this has helped you, share it with someone. We'll catch you next week. Until then, sip smart, invest better.